My name is Elijah Reed, at least I think it is. It's hard to remember much these days. My mind feels like a shattered mirror reflecting fragmented memories. I'm trapped in Black Hollow Asylum, a place where sanity is a luxury I can no longer afford. The doctors tell me I'm delusional, that my stories are just figments of a broken mind. But I know the truth. I was trapped in room 733. They say time heals all wounds, but here in Black Hollow, time only twists the knife deeper. The days bleed into nights, a monotonous cycle of medication, group therapy, and the ever-present watchful eyes of the orderlies. I'm a prisoner in my own mind, haunted by the horrors I experienced. The other patients, lost in their own worlds of delusion and despair, offer little comfort. Their vacant stares and incoherent ramblings serve only as a chilling reminder of my own fragile grasp on reality. I cling to the hope that someday I can escape this prison, both physical and mental. But even in the depths of my despair, a glimmer of hope emerged. A chance to escape the suffocating confines of Black Hollow presented itself, an opportunity that promised a return to normalcy, a chance to reclaim my life. Little did I know it was a one-way ticket to a nightmare. Dr. Evans, my psychiatrist, informed me about the work program. It was a chance for patients to reintegrate into society, a test of our fragile sanity. I was hesitant at first, my mind still reeling from the trauma of room 733. But the thought of escaping Black Hollow, even temporarily, was too tempting to resist. The job was simple enough: night security guard at Silver Pines Apartments, a sprawling complex on the outskirts of town. It seemed harmless, a mundane task to occupy my time and quiet the whispers in my mind. I convinced myself that it was a step towards recovery, a chance to prove to myself and the world that I was still sane. The day I left Black Hollow, the air felt different. It was as if a weight had been lifted from my chest. The sun seemed brighter, the sounds of the city sharper. I was filled with a cautious optimism, a sense of hope I hadn't felt in what seemed like an eternity. As I approached Silver Pines, a shiver ran down my spine. The building loomed over me, its countless windows like watchful eyes. An uneasy feeling settled in my stomach, a premonition that this was not the fresh start I had hoped for. But I brushed it aside, determined to make the best of my situation. The apartment manager, Mrs. Henderson, a stern woman with a perpetual frown, showed me around. The building was eerily quiet, the air thick with the scent of stale cigarettes and cleaning products. She led me to a small, dingy room on the 7th floor. "This is where you'll be stationed," she said, her voice devoid of warmth. Room 733. The number sent a chill down my spine. It was an irrational fear, I knew, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The room itself was small and cramped, with a single flickering fluorescent light overhead. A dusty desk and chair sat in the corner, next to a wall-mounted phone. As Mrs. Henderson explained my duties, my gaze fell on a series of strange markings etched into the desk's surface. They were faint, almost imperceptible, but I could make out a series of symbols and words. "What are these?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Mrs. Henderson glanced at the desk, her frown deepening. "Just some scratches," she said dismissively. "Don't worry yourself about it." But her words did little to ease my growing unease. As I settled into my new role, the feeling that something was amiss in room 733 only intensified. The first few nights were uneventful. The silence of the building was broken only by the occasional creak or groan of settling pipes. I spent my shifts reading, trying to distract myself from the unsettling atmosphere of room 733. But as the days turned into nights, the silence became oppressive, broken by something far more sinister. It started subtly at first. Faint whispers, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the walls. I dismissed them as my imagination, a side effect of the medication I was still taking. But as the nights wore on, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Whispers of fear, of anger, of unspeakable horrors. They spoke of things I couldn't comprehend, things that chilled me to the bone. I tried to ignore them, to focus on my book, but the voices were relentless. Sleep became impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I was bombarded by the whispers, their chilling words seeping into my dreams. I was losing my grip on reality, the line between sanity and madness blurring with each passing night. Section 5. A Hidden Door, Unmasking the Truth. One night, driven to the brink by the incessant whispers, I decided to investigate. I couldn't shake the feeling that the source of the voices was somewhere within room 733 itself. I scoured the small space, searching for any sign of something out of place. Behind the desk, I discovered a small, discolored patch of wallpaper. It was barely noticeable, but it stood out against the otherwise pristine wall. Curiosity got the better of me, and I peeled back the paper, revealing a narrow crack in the wall. As I widened the crack, a musty odor wafted out, filling the room with the scent of decay. I peered inside, my heart pounding in my chest. There, concealed behind the wall, was a door. It was old and made of heavy wood, its surface covered in scratches and gouges. Trembling with a mix of fear and anticipation, I grabbed the handle and pulled. The door creaked open, revealing a staircase that descended into darkness. The whispers grew louder, urging me forward. I knew that what I was about to find would change everything. Section 6. The Decayed Room, a Mirror into Madness. The air grew colder as I descended the stairs. The musty odor intensified, assaulting my nostrils with the stench of rotting wood and damp earth. The darkness was absolute, broken only by the faint glow of the moonlight filtering through a small barred window at the bottom of the stairs. I found myself in a room that was an exact replica of room 733. The same desk, the same chair, the same flickering fluorescent light overhead. But unlike the sterile, albeit unsettling, cleanliness of the security room, this room was in a state of utter disrepair. Cobwebs hung from every corner and dust covered every surface. The walls were stained with what looked like mold, and the floor was littered with debris. In the center of the room stood a single bed, its sheets torn and stained. It was as if the room itself was rotting from the inside out. The whispers were deafening now, swirling around me like a vortex of madness. They spoke of pain, of suffering, of something dark and evil that resided within these walls. I felt a presence in the room, something cold and malevolent watching my every move. Section 7. Shadowy Figures, Encounters in the Night. Night after night I found myself drawn back to the decayed room. The whispers beckoned me, promising answers to questions I hadn't dared to ask. I became obsessed with uncovering the secrets hidden within its crumbling walls, despite the growing terror that gnawed at my sanity. One night, as I stood in the center of the room, I saw them. Shadowy figures, their forms, shifting and indistinct, emerged from the darkness. They moved with an eerie silence, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. I was paralyzed with fear, my body frozen in place as the figures surrounded me. They reached out with their shadowy hands, their touch sending a jolt of ice-cold terror through my veins. Just as suddenly as they appeared, the figures vanished, melting back into the darkness. I was left trembling on the floor, my mind reeling from the encounter. I knew then that I had stumbled upon something truly evil, something that threatened to consume my sanity entirely. suffocating me with their darkness and despair. I was losing all hope, my sanity slipping away with each passing moment.